Welcome to another video. And I already said that the privilege escalation will be the threat actor will achieve the privilege escalation goal through the vulnerabilities as well as the misconfigurations in Windows. So today we are in this topic we are going to see one of the misconfiguration called as the unquartered service path vulnerability. So we just discuss we will say this is a vulnerability, but actually this was a misconfiguration in Windows. Okay, so what is unquartered service path vulnerability? Let we will discuss in a practical. So here I mentioned some of the commands for this is the commands to create a vulnerable service. Okay, with the unquartered service path vulnerability with unquartered service path vulnerability. Okay, so this if you create a service like this will absolutely harmful to your machine. Okay, so because let me move to the real world scenario. What happened in a uncoded service path vulnerability? So I'm going to create one of the service in a directory val path. Okay, and I'm going to create one more directory on unquoted path. Okay, and I am saying val.exe. Okay, so let's create this service. Before that, I will create the path. You don't need a path, but for explanation, I'm going to create a path. Okay, so inside the program files, what we need to create val path and unquoted path. Cool, no problem. We'll create new folder vulpath, and inside we have a unquoted unquartered path, right? So inside this unquartered path, I will rename this mimikatz file to the val.exe, and I will paste inside the I'll paste inside the we just created a service path. Okay, so leave, that was no problem. I don't need any services. For your understanding, let I will try to copy this. Control C, and yeah, done. Uh, let I will create a service first. So let I will execute this command inside my machine. Service create unquartered. We know how to create a service, right? So let it will start an auto. So let's create a service. So the display name will be the unquartered service, and the path will be the this. Okay. So this is the command to check the unquartered service path vulnerability. Okay. So if I execute this command, So it showed the this service was vulnerable to this service was unquoted. Okay, so what is unquoted vulnerability and what is about? Okay, so let's take this directory as an example. Okay, I have in here. Okay, so let's take this directory as a example. So whenever the service is going to start, if I started the unquoted if I started the service, it will first check the C dash program. Okay, so it will check the C dash program. If anything inside the C program .exe, it will execute this program .exe. Okay, so let if I for if let's take another one. So there is a val, right? So it will check the first one and it will find there is a space between the program, and it will execute the program.exe if the file was present on the c-program.exe. Okay, so for example, in the C directory, if I create a file inside the C directory named program.exe, like mm, program exe, it will execute this file. Okay, it will execute this program.exe file. Okay, so this is called as the unquoted service path vulnerability. So if it skipped the first one, then it will check the next directory. Okay, one path. Okay, so there also there is a space between that, so it will execute the vuln.exe if the file was present on there. Okay, so third, it will come to the this path unquartered, and it will check the space. There is a space between the unquartered, so it will execute the unquartered.exe. Okay, so finally it will come to val.exe. Okay, so in our scenario, the service was started in a first command, the c-program.exe. Okay, because the service was not quartered. Okay, so because of that, this command showed the result the service was not quartered. Okay, this service was vulnerable to the unquartered service path vulnerability. Okay, this is the exact scenario what will happen in the unquoted service path. Okay, so whatever executable inside the uh, uh, for example, uh, it will first check the C directory and it will go for a C dash slash program. If there is any executable named C dash program.exe, it will execute that C dash program.exe. Okay, so that was a scenario of unquartered service path vulnerability. Okay, so in this exploitation, the threat actor will execute this kind of commands to check any of the service is vulnerable to unquartered service path vulnerability. Okay, so my C2 was exited. So let I will create my C2 one more time, and I will plug my charger. So if I execute the same command, the WMIC service get information. So it displayed service that was unquartered. Okay, so let's check the service entire path, what how it's look like. Okay, so let's go to the searching. This is too hard. So let's come from the top. system32. Okay. Program file. There was another one. Program file. So you can see the this kind of services. So you can see c dash windows system 32 svc host.exe, right? So there is no space between any of the words, right? There is no space between any of the words. So see this c dash program space files space x86, right? So there is it was the service was started with the quotes. Okay. So you need to create a service like this if you want to evade, if you want to escape from the unquoted service path vulnerability. Okay, let's go to our service. Let's find our service where it was. See program files, Microsoft SQL. It was also quoted, and this is also quoted. Windows Defender, program data. So see this. So in the last line we have our service, right? So it was unquoted. See the above service, it was quoted, right? It was append with the double quotes, and it was start with the double quotes, and it will end with the double quotes. But see our service, it did not started with the double quotes, right? So this is called as the unquoted service path vulnerability. Okay, this will execute. This will check the whenever the unquoted service path was started. For example, if I start the net start unquoted quoted services, so it will check the program.exe first. Okay, so because there was a space, there is no quotes, right? So there is no quotes, and there is a space between the program, right? So it will check the program.exe. If it not find the program.exe, then it will go to the vuln path, and in between there is a space, so it will check for a vuln.exe. And again, if it not find the separate correct path, you will go to the next path unquoted. There is a space between the unquoted. It will check the unquoted.exe. Finally, if it's not found, it will come to the vuln.exe. Okay, so we created the vuln.exe in a notepad txt. That was not a valid file, so given a result like this. Okay, so it can't able to start the service. So this is called as the unquoted service path vulnerability. Okay, so how to escape from this? Okay, so if you are a Windows administrator or vulnerability assessment, if you are doing any vulnerability assessment, you can execute this WMAC service command into the host, and you can check if there is any if there is any unquoted service was there. Okay, as well as if you are a threat actors or a red teamer, if you are doing any red team activities in the target environment, so you can check for the unquoted service path vulnerability. The threat actors will also check for the unquoted service path vulnerability, so we can easily elevate the privilege, right? So we can easily elevate the privilege by abusing this misconfiguration. Okay, so if you want to create a service with a quote having the without having the unquote or service path vulnerability, so you can use the backslash double quotes backslash double quotes, and it basically you require two double quotes, because if you give two double quotes here, right? So this is the way how you need to create the service without unquote or service path vulnerability. Okay, so this command will escape uh, this command will escape you from a unquote or service path vulnerability. Okay, so if I execute this, so service was created, and if I check for the unquote service path vulnerability. So there is only two of the service was exploitable, vulnerable to the unquoted service path that was previously we have created, but this service was not vulnerable, right? There is a space, program file space, program space, but I gave a double quotes, backslash, and double quotes, so we can easily escape from the unquoted service path vulnerability. Okay, so this is a scenario. This is the overall explanation of unquoted service path vulnerability. So, if you are a blue teamer or an administrator, or you are or you are going to create any service into the target machine, into the machine, so you need to be aware how to create a service. Okay, so as well as the red teamers, you need to check this kind of misconfiguration into the machines to find out the unquoted service path vulnerability. Okay, so let's yep. So we are in the end of this video. So hope you understand about the unquoted service path vulnerability. We will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.